We are a niche consulting firm that focuses exclusively on the ERP marketplace. We have over 30 full-time consultants in North America, with more at our disposal internationally. And Panorama Consulting provides three primary offerings to our clients. First is ERP software evaluation and selection. Second is ERP implementation, project management. And third is ERP organizational change management and benefits realization. We have experience with over 140 different ERP solutions, and we have depth in a number of targeted industries, including manufacturing, distribution, supply chain, and high-growth companies. And perhaps most importantly for today's presentation, we are ERP vendor independent and neutral, which means we're technology agnostic. We're not a VAR or reseller of software, but we have the focus, expertise, and objectivity to make your ERP initiative successful. So the first thing to get started here today, we want to talk a little bit about the landscape of the ERP implementation marketplace. Most ERP projects take too long to implement and fail to deliver the expected results. And as you can see on the chart in front of you, 57% of ERP implementations take longer than expected, 54% cost more than expected, and 59% fail to deliver at least 50% of the business benefits that were expected from their ERP solutions. And actually, you can read these metrics in much more detail of our 2010 ERP benchmark report, which can be found on our website at the link at the bottom of the page. You can go to the link here or go to our main page and just click on the resource center and register to download the ERP report, as well as other white papers and reports that Panorama Consulting has published. So what is the problem with the metrics that we saw on the previous slide? Well, the problem is that most companies set the finish line too early in their process. They move from phase 0, which you see in the bottom left of your screen, which is a legacy system with broken business processes, misalignment with business requirements, and technological obsolescence. And they move from this legacy environment to what most people would call an ERP go-live situation. They're going live with core functionality. They're trying to leverage embedded best practices from the implemented ERP software. They're relying on industry pre-configuration provided by their software vendors. And what this ultimately provides is limited alignment with what it's going to take to ultimately outdo your competitors. And so the problem here, and if you look at the X and Y axis here, the Y axis at the left side of your screen is escalating business benefits and competitive advantage, and then time is at the bottom of your screen. So you can see that most projects stop right here at phase 1. They've typically severely underestimated the time and money required even just to get to phase 1. So a lot of companies don't reach this phase well. So the problem then is, and where the real opportunity lies, is to move beyond phase 1 and into the next 2 phases of ERP implementation success. The second phase is competitive edge. And this is where we kind of break through that traditional finish line of an ERP implementation and start to look at how can we leverage advanced modules and functionality within the implemented system. How can we leverage third-party bolt-ons or reporting and analytics? How can we re-engineer our business processes to give us a sustainable competitive edge over our competitors and over other companies that are using the same ERP software? And then finally, the dreaded word for a lot of CIOs is how can we customize the software in a targeted way to allow us to keep and maintain and in some cases extend our competitive advantage over our competitors. Now the key here is that most companies don't implement ERP just to be like their industry peers or to be just like their competitors. Most do it because they want to reduce costs, they want to be more efficient, they want to be closer to their customers, they want to see increased revenue, and they want to be better than their competitors. So in order to do that, you really have to move past that first phase, which is what the average company doesn't do well, is get to phase 1. The exceptional companies move beyond this finish line into phase 2, and then ultimately into the third phase, which is where you ultimately realize results and return on investment. This is where you start to see fine-tuned business processes. You start to fully leverage the functionality of the system that you've implemented and customized. And then you also see a superior ability to analyze and execute. So at this point, you don't just have a system that's been templatized for you and pre-configured for you. At this point in the third phase, you actually have processes that give you a competitive advantage, gives you information that you don't just have, but that you know how to act on and how to be superior to your competitors. So as you look at the two axes again, it takes time and money to get to this point, and that's the real problem here. Is most companies underestimate how much time and money it's going to take to get to phase 1, and they're not even thinking about phases 2 and phases 3, which is why you see some of the unfortunate metrics that we shared with you on the first slide. So if we look at the average ERP implementations, and according to our research, which again can be found in that ERP report that I mentioned earlier, only 72% of ERP implementations are in that phase 0 to phase 1 stage of their ERP implementation. So in other words, 72% of implementations stop at that phase 1. Only 28% of ERP implementations move on to either the second or the third phase of their ERP implementations. And these companies are much more focused on business process reengineering, organizational change management, and sustainable competitive advantage, while the other 72% are very much focused on the software, the functionality of the software, getting the project done quickly, and really kind of cutting corners to get the project done. So those are the real key challenges that we have here. And if you'd like to learn more about how Panorama can help you with your ERP implementation or your other ERP initiatives, please feel free to visit us at www.panorama-consulting.com. Thanks very much for your time today, and look forward to working with you in the future.